Can we just talk? Can we just talk? Talk about where we're going before we get lost.
Hello and welcome to another episode at TaheTalk. Today we are going to answer the most important question. If you are going to get an admission, so where you should go? You should go to Canada or you should study in Europe. So this is the big question which we are going to answer today. So today to have this discussion, I invited Mr. Lee. How are you, Mr. Lee?
No good.
So today we have categorized our talk in different sections. So we're going to talk about tuition fee, accommodation, student visas, and what would be the cost if you are going to study in different regions. So let's start. What is going to happen that Lee is going to defend that people should come to Canada and they study here, and he would talk about what would be the prospect of this, and I'm going to do the argument about what would be the prospect of studying in Europe. That's the argument which I'm going to defend. So Lee, the first question would be tuition fees. So if we talk about tuition fees in Canada and in Europe, what do you think? What would be the tuition fees in Canada?
In terms of tuition fee, don't come here.
So
You are not coming here to save money. International are charged like hell here. So by the time I started undergrad, which was about 6-7 years ago, okay, I might get wrong here, but so I know for the international, because I was international, I paid like 40,000 Canadian dollar
40,000 K.
a year for engineering. Engineering is a little bit special because engineering requires you to take full course, meaning 6 courses a term. That's fully required. There's no discussion, no bargain there. So if you go to arts, it's become GPA credit based. So as long as you get enough credits, you should be good to go. That's why usually they are cheaper. Won't be much cheaper because I think to get full credits, you still need to take around 4 courses a term. And I just checked the UBC website right now. For engineering, which is called applied science here, undergrad, the international tuition is now $57,000.
57,000
a year.
dollars.
A year, yeah, Canadian dollars.
Per
So
year.
that gives you, well, let's make it US, right? So you times 0.75, about 0.75. So how
Yeah.
much is that? It's about 50.
Yeah, almost 50K.
Yeah, 50K US.
So I think for the European studies, so I studied a master's degree there, so I know how much I was paying. So some semester fee is like 250 or
Yeah, that's what I
300
heard.
euros.
In
Yeah,
usually it's very
that's just
cheap.
for the semester, and you also get a travel ticket, like you can travel within the region. That's the thing in Germany. So when you go there, so you just pay the semester fee, mostly engineering courses. And if I talk about Estonia, then yeah, there is a semester fee which is almost 2,000 to 5,000 euros per year for different courses. So
about
it's almost
4K.
yeah, it's almost like 4 to 8K Canadian dollars.
Yeah.
So in terms of tuition fee, I think it's quite cheap to study in Europe.
yeah,
if you want to study there.
tuition and benefits.
So let's move to another category. So for example, if students are already paying the tuition fee, so if they want to cover it with some alternative, for example the stipends or the scholarships. So let's talk about now the scholarships, if we do the comparison between Canada and Europe. So in Canada, how many scholarship and how you can get those scholarships to cover the tuition fee? Is there possibility or no?
Impossible. So let's face the reality. Most people, I won't say most, many people don't even make $55,000 a year.
Yeah.
Okay, that's if you have a full-time job. And scholarship in UBC for international students are very minimal.
Yeah.
So there are a few ways to getting it. The first is, I think if you do very well in your GPA, the school will give you reward.
Okay.
Okay, my friend actually received that before, but it was like $400, little bonus. Some you can apply, but most options are reserved for local student. For the international student, your opportunity is very, they financially speaking, almost all schools are heavily dependent on international student incomes. Okay, they are not gonna give the money back to you to cover your tuition fee. That's not gonna happen. Okay,
So
it is possible, but I would say even you like top notch and apply for everything.
yeah.
Think about it. Some positions are only available for like what, 3 to 10 people. You're really gonna be the top 10,
Yeah.
and that's probably a couple thousand. Now, if you go into master and the PhD, it's a slightly better situation. But nonetheless, it's gonna be impossible. The days of having scholarship cover your tuition is long gone. Even for local students, it's long gone.
I think if we do the comparison on scholarships, so still, yeah, there are some of the students, they would be paying the tuition fees. If you are extraordinary student, you will get some scholarships which can cover your tuition fee. For example, there are different scholarships available for Erasmus Mundus, and then there are also course specific scholarships which you can avail, because this is how most of the students were doing. They were coming over there in Europe, they were also earning a lot of scholarships which can, if you are studying in Germany, you could also pay for your expenses, the accommodation, and taking those scholarships or earning those scholarships. So I think in terms of scholarships, yeah, there are plenty of them.
Well, that's in the 80s for Canadian.
It still is happening there.
Yeah.
If you compare like Sweden or Finland, these are the country where you have to pay like up to 17,000 euros per year for some of the courses. Yeah, that's not feasible. And when you get the scholarship, maybe you don't get like fully tuition fee waiver, but most of the students, they can also get tuition fee waiver, maybe half of it or up to 25%, something like that. So if we conclude this thing, so in terms of scholarships, yes, you can also avail a lot of scholarships in Europe if you're going to study for masters. So yeah, that would be the best place for you to just go and study.
Yeah, if you financially tight, don't come here.
Yeah, so let's talk about accommodation now. So it's when students try to go out and study abroad, so living expenses are the big concern. So
Okay.
how would you explain for the Canada?
So for now, Canada is not good to begin with, and now is especially bad. Okay, the same exact location I live in, same exact renting company agency. 5-6 years ago, the rent was $850 per month, $750 per month, roughly. Okay, and that was pretty average rent
Yeah.
to rent a room for yourself with a separated kitchen and a bathroom. Okay, now the same exact location, $1,700 per month.
$1,700.
Yes. About 2-3 years ago, the rent for having roommates per room, okay, around university is already about $1,000 per month per room.
So overall, like if students wants to share in apartment, the one room could be available within like $800 to $1,000.
Yeah, depending on your location. If you live far away, you can still find rooms like between 600 and 800 bucks. But that's in some quite shady area, quite far away. I'm talking about like the bus running on the highway for 20 minutes. School actually offers accommodations. Okay, there are several types. You can live in a suite where there's no kitchen, shared bathroom, which my friend used to live in. Okay, and that price actually follows quite closely to the overall city market. So I just checked on the website right now in UBC. It says if you live in UBC residential,
Yeah.
depending on what kind of suite you live in, and the meal plan generally don't cost much. You're looking around. Well, they give a quite big range from 10,000 to 15,000 a year just to live in UBC.
Okay.
Okay.
If we compare the living expenses in Europe, I think most of the places, like big cities, for example Frankfurt or Berlin or these kind of big cities, then at least you have to pay up to 1,000 euros, even in a shared like a guest house or apartment or something like that. So 1,000 euros or maybe 700 to 1,000 euros, which is quite expensive as compared to Canada. And if you are living in somewhere in the dorm, so dorms are quite cheap because they are subsidized by the government, so mostly students are paying up to 300 euros to 500 euros. So that's the way to deal with it. And you have in some of the dorms you have kitchen where you can cook or something like that. And if you go to smaller like Estonia or these kind of Finland even or Czech Republic, these small countries, so then you can see like in Czech Republic even 200 euros would be enough, or even in Estonia 300 to 400 euros would be enough for one person to share one room in an apartment. Okay, that was the comparison of the accommodation and living expenses. So let's move to health insurance or this kind of expenses, which is also quite important because when you are studying abroad, you also need to take care of your health. How Canada is taking care of you?
So by law, all the international students come here must have a valid health insurance, okay, covered by provided by the government. It's called MSP. Now, when you just arrive here, you need to apply for something else to kickstart, because MSP gonna take some time. Okay, but nonetheless, eventually you will get something called MSP. Now, that covers very basic stuff. Now, for your dental, eye protection, you pay them in the tuition fee, and you get certain waiver every year. So if you go to dental, I think it's $800 a year. That's quite nice if you use them up. Okay, so if you eye care is around 250 something around there, or $400, I couldn't remember, but a few $100 gives you eye protection. Now for the MSP, this is tricky. When I first arrived here, the MSP was $75 per month.
Yeah.
For a period of time, they canceled it for everyone.
Yeah.
They got it back half price for international students. Now I think a couple years ago they got it back full price for international. Okay. So right now we are paying $75 again, regardless you're using it or not.
The health insurance part in Europe is quite accommodative. Like you just need to pay almost like 200 to 300 euros per year, and that would cover your health insurance. Usually people take Swisscare, which is quite common there. So Swisscare, they use like they have a package for the students. So if you are a student, you can use that. It's within 300 euros.
Well, here is about 1,000 Canadian.
So on the other hand, the dental and the other ones, I think you have to take it as a separate. You have to buy some local insurance policy. So that's where you can also cover your dental. But health insurance is quite important, which is like up to 300 euros. And if we take the other fees, for example, the phone bills and the electricity cost and everything, so these are quite cheap there. Phones are also quite cheap. Even in Estonia, 5 to 10 euros would be enough for per month phones bill if you are not using too much of your internet and everything. In Germany, it's almost 10 to 15 euros. So you can also use per month, like if you are just going back and forth from university or to home. Okay, so let's move to another segment which is quite important for visa processing and visa fees. which is also quite a big problem for most of the international students. So if you can explain in terms of Canada, like how this is happening.
So right now in Canada, for visa, I would worry less about the fees. Okay, it's not gonna be ridiculous. It's not gonna be make you bankrupt. It's the time.
No, the time
In Canada is very slow.
and it's unbearable.
I never looked into that thing, but I know Canada do offer some specific countries benefits
Yeah.
to each their own. For instance, I know for Hong Kong and mainland China, the policy is drastically different. Okay, but I'm not very sure about the detail because I never looked into it and I never had a chance to use it.
I think if we talk about the European visa processing and visa fees, I think it's quite normal, but it's also time taking. For example, if you talk about Germany, so the countries, for example, Pakistan, India, or Bangladesh, these countries, so it takes time, I think up to 2-3 months if you already got the admission. So you also need to wait on the appointment as well.
Let's just say to do this documentation with governments, it's slow everywhere.
It's
it's
so
slow
it
everywhere.
almost takes at least average 3 to 4 months
So
to
I know
do
the
everything.
PR gets most complaint because
I think there are some other countries, for example Estonia, the processing time is very quick. Like for example, if you're coming the first time to study in Estonia, so you would get your D visa, which is long-term stay visa for 6 months, within few days or within few weeks.
So if you want to know how long your documents is gonna take to process, check the government website. They have updated time, very frequently updated. So I cannot give you a definitive answer here because they change it every day almost. So go check their website and you have a roughly idea.
So let's conclude our discussion here. So in terms of tuition fees, scholarships, and then living expenses, transportation, and insurance, health insurance. So these are all things which we discussed. In terms of money, I think the best option for the people who are little worried about the money, they can always go to Europe and study there. They can avail a lot of scholarships. They can do a lot of find a lot of other opportunities if you know the language. The language is the only barrier there. So if you are going to learn the language, there would be plenty of opportunities for you. And if we talk about the Canada,
Financially speaking, it's don't come here. Okay, so but then you may wonder, okay, why there is still so many people rushing to here? So there are a few reasons you need to take into considerations other than financially speaking. Be in close relationship with USA in North America. Canadian universities, generally speaking, has very good reputation globally and being recognized widely, especially if you want to apply to a job in the USA later on, which most people do because you don't earn much here afterwards. Okay. Second is, depending on your discipline, each school has their
specialty,
staple disciplines. Okay. In general, let's say engineering. Canadian engineering and doctors, like surgical doctors, not PhDs. Okay. Canadian engineering, doctors, dentists, held very high standard. Another reason people come here is the platform, which is not a big problem for Europe, most European countries. But if you studied in Canadian university, you have North American experience. Generally speaking, it's easier for you to jump to elsewhere. To somewhere
so it's also
else.
give you a little boost.
It's a little boost.
Yes, that's great. Thank you very much for this video. We tried to discuss all the topics which we could cover. So for the more explanation and more detailed and specific cases, you can always comment and we can try to answer there. Thank you very much for watching this.